For over 50 years, we have been told that humanity's greatest achievement was a lie. A cottage industry of conspiracy theories has taken historical footage from the Apollo missions, stripped it of all context, and presented it as definitive proof of a hoax. They show us clips that seem to depict astronauts faking a communication delay, removing a fake backdrop from a window, or being secretly recorded on a film set. But do these clips really show what they claim? Or do they simply reveal a misunderstanding of 1960s technology, basic physics, and the sheer scale of the Apollo program? Tonight, we're not just going to dismiss these claims, we are going to examine the evidence and debunk the most popular gotcha videos one by one. Conspiracy theorists often point to a specific moment from an Apollo 11 television broadcast made when the crew was already halfway to the moon. The audio is presented as a smoking gun, a director giving a line to an actor. Let's listen to the actual, full transmission. Before we play this, know this. You're hearing astronaut Bruce McCandless in Houston, speaking to Neil Armstrong in space. The delay is real from a global relay, and their push-to-talk radios can make words sound clipped and distorted. Keep that in mind.
Hello, Apollo 11. Houston, Goldstone says that the TV looks great. Over. Okay, Roger. We're zooming in on Earth.
That single blunt word, talk, is presented as proof of coaching. But that ignores the crucial context provided by the rest of the sentence. This isn't a rehearsal. It's a live, globally broadcast systems test. Let's break down the transmission. Goldstone says that the TV looks great. Goldstone, located in California, was one of the key ground stations in NASA's manned spaceflight network. The voice from Houston, the Capcom, is explicitly stating that a ground station on the other side of the country is receiving a good television picture. This tells us the entire purpose of this broadcast. It's a technical checkout. 2. The cue to speak, a necessary command. So why the abrupt command, talk? It's not a line from a script, it's a technical directive, the 1969 equivalent of a sound engineer saying, "Give me a level check." The crew in Houston can see the video, but they cannot confirm the audio channel is clear unless someone speaks into the microphone. The Capcom is giving a necessary command. Transmit audio now so we can complete the quality check. 3. The astronaut's response. Neil Armstrong's reply, "Okay, Roger, we're zooming in on the Earth now," isn't bad acting. It's the authentic, methodical response of a test pilot. He's acknowledging the instruction, "Roger," and then describing the next action he is performing for the camera test, zooming in on the Earth, so that mission control can evaluate both the video and audio quality of that action. 4. The real-world delay. And on top of all this, the natural communication delay is still present. The signal had to travel from the spacecraft to a ground station, then be relayed tens of thousands of miles back to Houston through undersea cables and early satellites. The Capcom's reply then had to make the same journey back. This real-world network latency of 2 to 3 seconds, combined with the deliberate pace of a technical checkout, is what creates the slow, stilted conversation you hear. The verdict: this footage isn't proof of astronauts faking a lunar delay. It's definitive proof of the opposite. It shows meticulous professionals running a live systems test while traveling to the moon, with the ground station, the action, and the audio check all mentioned right there in the audio.
11, Houston, if you could comply, we'd like to see some smiling faces up there. If you could give us some interior views, I'm sure everybody'd like to see you. Over. Okay, we'll reconfigure the TV for that. Roger.
Now for the Earth in the Window clip. This is the moment that supposedly shows an astronaut removing a fake Earth cutout from the window. It's hard to tell exactly what the object is, but if anything was removed, it was likely just a polarizing filter to reduce glare for photography. But that action isn't even the important part. The real giveaway is at the end of the clip. Watch how the dim light inside the capsule and the bright Earth outside both change at the exact same time as the camera's aperture opens.
Apollo 11 Houston, appears to us that we're seeing a view from outside plus a little of the inside. It appears you've taken the camera away from the left window. Now over.
That's correct. We're moving it back and reconfiguring for interior lighting.
Roger. We can still see the Earth through the left window, and it appears that we can see a floodlight off to the left, either that or some sun casting through the hatch window. It's a floodlight. Now we're coming in. Can't quite make out who that is. It's Big Mike Collins there.
Well, you got a little bit of... Yeah, hello there, sports fans. You got a little bit of me, plus Neil's in the center couch, and Buzz is doing the camera work this time.
Roger. It's a little dark.
This infamous clip, depicting a video of Earth filmed through the window from the inside of the Apollo 11 command module, is often presented as a smoking gun. But in reality, it only proves a complete lack of understanding of basic photography and perspective. Let's break down the sequence of events you're actually seeing. First, watch the camera movement. The astronaut starts with the lens pushed right up against the glass, filming the Earth outside. Then, he deliberately pulls the camera back, moving further away from the window and deeper into the cabin. Naturally, as he moves back, the circular window frame restricts the view, making the Earth appear smaller in the foreground. This was a deliberate move to show the audience at home what their perspective looked like from inside the spacecraft, not a deceptive trick to disguise a fake Earth screen. Next, notice the initial lighting state. The camera is correctly exposed for the brilliantly sunlit Earth outside. To achieve this, the camera's aperture, the opening that lets in light, is set very small. As a result, the interior light of the capsule is very dim. The astronauts and equipment are shrouded in darkness. The goal now is to film the astronauts inside the cabin. To do that, the operator must open the camera's aperture wide open to let more light in from the dim interior. Watch closely as this happens. As the aperture opens, two things happen simultaneously. The dim interior of the capsule brightens dramatically, allowing you to see the details and the astronauts inside. At the exact same time, the view of the Earth, which was already bright, is now flooded with too much light and blows out into a featureless white disk. This is the exact same dynamic range problem you face when taking a picture of someone in a dark room with a bright window behind them. You can either expose for the room, making the window pure white, or expose for the window, making the person a dark silhouette. A 1960s camera could not do both. It's not a secret light source or a fake backdrop. It's a textbook demonstration of photography 101. Another persistent theory points to supposedly leaked behind-the-scenes footage, arguing that the astronauts accidentally left the cameras rolling while rehearsing the fake landing on a soundstage. This claim is based on a modern assumption about technology. Today, we record video onto SD cards or hard drives. In the 1960s, the Apollo television cameras had no such capability. There was no internal storage. The camera had one function: to broadcast a live signal. It was either transmitting or it was off. The astronauts were fully aware that any time the camera was on, their signal was being beamed across the globe. There was no "oops, we were secretly recording" moment. There was only live or off air. Their casual conversation is simply what real people do during downtime on a long journey. Finally, there is the infamous argument regarding the Van Allen radiation belts. Skeptics claim that the bands of intense radiation surrounding the Earth would act as an impenetrable barrier, instantly cooking the astronauts alive and frying their equipment before they ever reached deep space. This argument correctly identifies a real danger, but conveniently ignores the real solution. Yes, prolonged, unshielded exposure to the Van Allen belts would be lethal. That's why NASA planned for it. The solution was twofold: speed and trajectory. The Apollo spacecraft traveled at over 25,000 miles per hour. They didn't linger in the belts. They blasted through the thinnest parts in under an hour. Shielding. The command module's hull was a thick wall of metal. The heat shield, designed to protect from the 5,000-degree heat of re-entry, was composed of layers of stainless steel and aluminum. This sheer mass was more than enough to stop the high-energy particles of the belts. The very thing that protected them from heat also protected them from radiation. Beyond debunking clips, there is a mountain of physical proof that is simply impossible to fake. First, the 842 pounds of moon rocks. These rocks are completely unlike anything on Earth. They contain no water, show evidence of being formed in a vacuum, and are covered in tiny zap pits from billions of years of micrometeorite impacts, a condition that cannot be replicated. Second, the physics of the moon. Watch any video of the astronauts. The dust they kick up travels in perfect, slow-motion parabolas and falls to the ground instantly. There's no air to suspend it. This is the behavior of fine particles in a low-gravity vacuum, something that would have been impossible to fake in 1969. And finally, the laser reflectors. The Apollo astronauts left retroreflectors on the lunar surface. To this day, observatories on Earth bounce powerful lasers off these mirrors to precisely measure the distance to the moon. This is an active experiment that anyone with the right equipment can verify. The claim that the moon landing was faked requires a conspiracy involving over 400,000 people, all of whom have kept the secret perfectly for over half a century. But the most powerful proof comes from our greatest enemy at the time, the Soviet Union. The USSR had the technology and the intense motivation to expose an American fake. They tracked the Apollo missions from start to finish. Their silence, their quiet admission of defeat in the race to the moon, is the most deafening proof of all that it was real. The proof of a hoax crumbles under the slightest scrutiny of history, physics, and 1960s technology. The real story, the one where humanity actually reached for and touched another world, is far more incredible than any conspiracy theory could ever be.